Hey, good morning and good afternoon to everyone joining us here today. Thanks for taking some time. It's the middle of the day, middle of the week for a lot of you. We appreciate your time. It's going to be well spent today. That's the most that I can say. My name is Patrick Manning, account executive here at Formax. We're live. You're in the demo room. You're in Dover, New Hampshire, about an hour north of Boston. Great time of year if you can see some of the leaves changing around here. But it's also a great time of the year for our dealer network, who we operate through. This is a chance for you guys to get some relevant equipment in these cutters that I'm going to be talking about, that a lot of people are buying, that's going to be able to provide a solution for end of year for those customers. If you're an end user customer who was invited here by your dealer, thank you for taking your time and joining us to learn a little bit more about this. This is a great opportunity to take advantage of some of those tax deductions that you can take with the 179, your use it or lose it budget. There's a lot of different advantages, and you don't have to break the bank. What's going to be great about today is that we have a cutter for every kind of environment. You're looking at just some of the most responsibly priced and well-constructed machines that are going to be available anywhere, and you're invited to go take a look and shop around. I feel very fortunate as a Formax executive to be able to help my dealer network out when they say, my customer has the specific application, but they need automation and they don't have standard power. I can say, great, we can go to the 28A. I have a customer who needs to cut down booklets and they really don't have a big budget. I can say, awesome, we can go to the 23S. Hopefully, by the end of this, if you're a customer that was invited by your dealer, you're going to get a lot of information that's going to enable you to make a qualified decision on the cutting need that you're going to be able to do so. And hopefully by the end, if you're a dealer, you really see some of this excellent, well-built, responsibly priced equipment we can provide. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to start off by just going around, all right? And I'm going to talk about the Cut True 23S first. So we sell more of this model than any other cutter because of its footprint, its capabilities, and its price that's going to be available. So who buys this? A lot of example verticals. Churches are probably the biggest one. Churches have a lot of booklets. They need to cut them down. It's great to have a machine that first, it's not going to be manual, where you're not going to have to sit there and crank something down to be able to do it. It's easy with a dual button electric right here. Hit two buttons, comes down and cuts. It's also great about the booklets is this spindle guided clamp, being able to provide incremental pressure. So if you do have a stack of booklets, rather than just something that's fast action clamp that's going to hold it in place, you can really dial in how much pressure that's going to hold your media in place before that cutter comes down. I think of schools, like K through 12 schools. Look, you got to have something that's in there that's going to be safe. It's also going to be automated. This, and along with any of our cutters that we have, all of the laser guided line to let you know exactly where that blade's going to come down. But here you have a plexiglass cover. You have dual button electric, meaning that two hands have to be on it to be engaged. And you even have a key. So if you have some knuckleheads in the classroom, you don't want some people using the machine, they don't have the ability to do so. So that's what's going to be safe and effective for those schools. Another thing too that we run into is sports memorabilia companies. So, we have a lot of people who contact us and they're cutting down things like this to make some frames, old Wheaties box. They have a lot of playing cards right here that they need to be able to cut down. But they're like, look, I have a small shop. I don't want to spend more than $5,000 on a cutter to be able to do this, but I don't want to do it manually. I want some sort of automation with a digital readout that lets you know exactly where that back gauge is going to be. Back gauge, which everything's pushed up against. So they have the ability to take something like this at under $5,000 and be able to create these solutions. So a lot of these applications that you come into, I spoke about a few. Basically, anything that booklets are the biggest ones. So that's something where, as most of these booklets, like what you're seeing here with any of these catalogs, this is 11 by 17, fold them in half, 8.5 by 11. What this would do is trim down the sides, so that way you can have full bleed on it. Oh, and by the way, with a spindle-guided clamp to make sure it's going to be held correctly with that right amount of pressure that's there. So I think about if you're a customer who is invited here by your dealers, this is something where this is going to be great for you because it's going to be compact, it's going to be safe, it's going to be automated, it's going to accommodate a wide variety of different applications, and if you're adding it to something like a lease with potentially a copier that you're looking to buy, This is going to be about like $100 or less. That's going to be added to that for like a monthly payment, just to think about it in a certain context. Now, if you're one of our dealers that's in here, this is going to be great for you, because if you ever have sold or are pitching a saddle stitch on the end of an MFP, something that's creating booklets, do your customers a favor. Let them know that you have a solution to finish it that's going to be compact, it's going to be safe, it's going to be inexpensive, and it's going to be easy to use, and it's something that you're not going to have to put in line, and you can use for a variety of different applications rather than just cutting on the edge of a saddle stitch booklet maker. So that's why it's going to be appropriate. It's going to be great for you all. You know, some of the improvements that we've done with these machines, because at Formax we're always listening. We want to make sure that whatever cutter that we have, we're going to make improvements to be able to fit into a modern environment and what we're hearing from. So this was the 22S, so now it's the 23S. Oh, price didn't change, so that's good. We made these improvements without it. But putting together the stand, now in 4 pieces. Bing, bang, boom. Out of the box and done. When you have this front cover lining up here, easier to control this back gauge. Speaking of the back gauge, one improvement we did is we made this a front honing back gauge. What does that mean? That means when you have productivity, you're turning the machine on and off, and you want this readout to here, to calibrate it, you bring it right to the front this time rather than to the back. Seems like a minute little thing, but that's a great improvement, that when you power up the machine and turn it on, you don't have to bring this thing all the way to the back to be able to get it going. So as quick as possible, being able to get ahead of it. And candidly, I like that this is really slick. I like the skin on it. It looks more modern. It's going to look a lot better into a wide variety of environments. And when I think about some of the advantages of what our equipment can do, the biggest one that I can think of with the 23S is going to be that spindle-guided clamp. You don't have fixed clamp pressure that's going to be applied to this. This is something where you can really dial that in and make sure it's going to be the appropriate pressure for it. So that's the 23S, 16.9-inch cutting width, a ton of different environments, ton of different verticals, great price. But what you see here in this selection that we have is designed to be built based on the customer's application, their environment, and their budget. So if I think of application, let's take a look at something like this. This is a 12 by 18. You need to cut down these trim sides. You need to bring it down to an 11 by 17 so you can fold the thing in half, make an 8.5 by 11 cover or a brochure. So while this won't fit the long edge in this way, it will on our cut true 27S. Now the 27S has an 18.9-inch cutting width. So this is going to be a great solution for people who have those formats where they need a wider cutting width. Maybe they're doing a little bit more production. This has a higher cutting height too. This has about over 3 inches in cutting height that you can put in there. All right. When I think of verticals, I think we see a lot of these go into shops that are basically implants. You think of like a real estate company who has like an area, they want to create their own media, they'll go with this. I think of law firms that send out a lot of different postcards. They don't need anything complicated. They want something linear and simple that just cuts, where they can control where they want to do and be able to accommodate that. You know, I think of insurance companies that need to send out all that stuff. This is something where I think even now, I go to my mailbox and I see a ton of postcards from elections where like these campaigns, they're mailing out all these things. They want to be able to do it in-house. Why I say the implants and everything is because this is going to be a sub $10,000 solution for the customer. So it's incredibly inexpensive, very well built, and going to fit into the widest variety of environments, fits through standard doors, runs off of standard power. So that's why it's going to be great for these implants for people who are doing it. And another vertical that we see is people who have their own shops. They have their own equipment. They have some giant, mammoth of a cutter. But they just need something simple. They need something in a different environment. They need, look, we have X amount of people using this cutter. We need Y amount of people to use this to not take up the bandwidth and totally have a traffic jam in a machine. So we sell a lot of these because these can cut down most of those standard digital medias that are out there. Sub 10K solution, standard power, put it into a lot of different environments. So those are verticals, applications. Really, this is like a perfect one for it because it's only 4 cuts. You take this in, you'll notice that when you have the spindle guided, when you have this back crank right here, that when you turn everything around, that back gauge is going to move front and back to be able to get to it. You have a digital readout that's going to let you know exactly where that is. So even if it's something as simple as 4 steps, you do that, you put your plexiglass cover down, 2 buttons, cut, and it's done. 4 steps, you can be able to bang this out. That's a great application for it. So if you're an end user, thank you again for coming, seeing some of these brought here by your dealers. This is going to be a great solution for redundant equipment or something just simple that's going to be very cost effective. If you're a part of our dealer network, what you have is a great in-between solution and a sub 10K solution that you can provide to your customers. Not everything has to be a $50,000 hydraulic cutter. That's the point. Find the solution that's going to work best for your customer and flex a little bit with what you have with this great lineup that we have. They're very, very well built, and this is something that they're going to be available for you. You know, when I think about improvements, again, we had our 27S before. What we did was add these side tables, which I think are really, really neat. So something where just ease of workflow, productivity. If you are cutting a lot of these things down and you need the ability to just kind of stow something off to the side, we added these. So at no additional cost. The stand, again, only a fewer pieces to put the thing together. And again, a more modern, slick skin that's going to be on this that I think just looks a lot better. It's a lot more attractive. It's a great looking machine. Now, if you went to Printing United this year, and this is kind of what you saw me in the corner of our booth that we had, where we had a bunch of different machines, and you saw something similar, all looking uniform. If you didn't have a chance to speak to me there about anything, it's because I didn't shut up for 3 straight days, because not everybody needs this giant Colossus cutting machine. Sometimes they do want something automated. Let's take a look at this 28A. So if I have an application like this, now we're starting to get into a few more cuts, right? It's not just like 4 individual ones. This is where we're starting to get into verticals where people are starting to get their workhorse of a machine. I mean, really, depending on your environment, any one of these can be a workhorse. But this is where people are starting to get into that. So these are going to be some of those smaller print shops, those Minuteman presses. And again, implants too would apply, because this is going to be a sub 15K solution for the customers there. So what's great about this, you have a few more automated. This is, you'll notice with the 27S, you have a plexiglass cover. Safety shield has to be down in order to hit the 2 buttons to have it cut. This does not. This has an infrared beam, and Travis, you can take a look at everything here too. What you're looking at right in front is an infrared beam. Nothing will engage if my hand is in front of it. But what's great is when I'm going in between steps, when I have to take this stack and I need to move it one way and then make a cut, if I need to move it another way and then make a cut, you'll notice I'm not lifting up a plexiglass cover and putting it down, on and off, on and off. It's going to save a lot of time. You have a really, really great bright colored touchscreen. Here is where you can move things automatically. You can eject. You can have different settings on here. You can have pre-programmed settings. When you come in here, all you need to do is pre-program something into this and load it, and you can save over about 99 jobs that's on here. So rather than you taking some software, building a file, creating a barcode on the file, bringing it on over and scanning it with the machine and having it do all those steps for you, which you don't need, all you have to do is load everything on here. Then it's done. Why complicate it by integrating software and everything? Just measure where you're supposed to put this stack, mark that step, load it in here, you have your jobs. This is a great machine. I mean, I love this color touchscreen, kind of a cool feature. This is one of my favorites with it. Even the ability to see like instructions, like the how-tos, how to remove the blade from here. It walks you through everything that's going to be the steps to be able to change that blade out responsibly. So I could go on forever just about the touchscreen itself and some of the automation. Suffice to say, this has been a great machine for us right off the bat. This is a new release. This was just launched. So when I think about verticals, I think about people who have smaller shops. And this can fit through standard power and redundant equipment. Have a backup, but something that's still automated that's going to be there. When I think about applications, I think about applications where people have a variety of different cuts where they don't want to guess and check each time by moving your front gauge back and doing it manually. Still can, it's super easy. You're looking at me using fine-tune adjustments to move it in and out if need be. But if you want some automated steps, if you're putting this into a shop where you're starting to set up like a culinary program, like a graphics arts program, and you have a bunch of students who want to know about how to finish this stuff, this is a great solution because it'll move everything automated for you. So for the end users who are looking at this is going to be a sub 15K solution, standard power, fits through most stores, fully automated. So if you're one of our dealers, this is going to be the most responsibly priced machine for its capabilities anywhere. Go take a look. You're going to take a look and you're going to find that this is going to be the most effectively priced, well-constructed, in-stock machine that you're going to find. Now, this is a launch, so I keep talking about improvements on some of these cutters that we have because we have put a lot of thought into this. This is just launched very recently, a lot of success right out the gate. You know, the advantages with this is going to be a big thing with automation without having to have a standard 220 volt system, without having to pay an arm, leg, and a foot for it. You know, and then again, if you're going to build a job that's going to have steps within it, just build it on the machine itself. Have it saved right there. It's a no-brainer. Now, as we move on, you may discover, boy, that's really great. I like all these options. I have a customer who's just a print shop, though, and they want a machine that they want the best. Or you have customers who are specifically asking for hydraulic. And that's when we come on over to the 29H. So this is a 20.5-inch cutting width, all right? So this is going to be great because it has more control over the clamp when you have a fully hydraulic machine. A true two-shift machine, meaning this was rated to run 16-hour shifts continuously every day. Good beast of a machine, no plexiglass cover coming down, infrared safety beam, that's going to be in lieu of it to save you some time. So you, again, more control over the clamp that you have with this. Fully hydraulic, will be a 220 volt system, but what's also great about this, it fits through most standard doors. You can get side tables added on if you want. This is just showing it without. And we'll take a look at the touch screen here just to be able to show some of the things. Bright, easy to read touch screen where you have different modes that you can run into, absolute, incremental. You can move the back gauge forward and back with ease without having to do a hand crank. You can eject certain steps to certain lengths. Here is where you can have your programs. Again, you can load in dozens and dozens of programs into this. This even shows you the steps of which, and it even tells you which way to turn the media. So that way it really makes it, I don't want to use the word dummy proof, but it does make it very, very effective for a wide variety of users. You can start programs, you can edit, and then even another great option here is card cutting. So this lets you know where it's going to start for your cut, what the space in between is, and what the gap is in between going in both directions to allow you to do card cutting like this. So perhaps you want to pan out. So if we have an application that's something like business cards, holy smokes, that's a lot of steps. Just think about it. If you're sitting here in front of you, you have 24 up on a 12 by 18 sheet. You're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I could go on and on, right? So you're going to be moving this thing around. When you have something automated with a card cutting program on there, it's going to make it a lot easier because as you rotate the stock and you move things out, it's going to cut exactly where it is and you don't need to guess nor move the back gauge up manually for yourself. Now, this brings up a good point though, and we always talk about environments, applications, and budgets. But before I go into what could be a better solution to this, verticals, this is where you're going to get more into those print shops. Because most people are really only doing up to about 13 by 19. This is a 20.5-inch cutting width, so no matter how you load it, no matter what the application is, it's going to accommodate it. Again, applications, people who want a lot of steps, who want a real workhorse of a machine. You know, if you're one of the end users who are on here, invited by your dealers, great. This is going to be an awesome solution that is compact enough to fit into your environment, but rugged enough to last an incredibly long time with adjustable clamp pressure. So you can have anything from NCR paper to booklets to running card stock, whatever you want to do. So if you're a dealer joining us, what you have here is a solution that you can provide to your customers that's going to be under 20K, Oh, and by the way, if you're a dealer of ours, these aren't made to order for you or custom order. They're going to be available. So that's going to reduce the lead time. If you're going to have a custom order, you're looking at it. You have the options of side tables or not. Keep it simple because that's what these are. They're simple machines, just built really well and just priced very responsibly. So the improvements that we did onto this machine is we made this touch screen just a lot bigger. Have it be big, obvious, bright. You know, I have fat fingers at times. I don't want to sit here and have to hit one button then another because I'm not hitting it exactly where it needs to. So that's going to be a great option for you. And then again, the advantage is load your jobs on the screen itself rather than having to complicate it with software. Furthermore, have a machine that's going to be under $20,000 for your customer. Have it be compact enough to work and have it be fully hydraulic. And when you have card cutting steps in here, it's great. Can do it on this cutter. A lot of people do. I find it a little cumbersome. So Travis, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show some business card cutters because when you have applications like this, I already went through about how many different cuts you're going to have to make on your guillotine cutter for it. A lot of the times, you can just put it onto a card cutter which slits in one direction, cuts in another, and it makes it a lot easier for you. So when I think about verticals for this is going to be in a lot of UPS stores that are going to be out there that need that on-demand fulfillment. Those small environments, those people who may not have the budget to justify getting a big slitter cutter creaser, but just want the ability to have on-demand business cards. Think about a real estate company. How many business cards do they hand out on a regular basis? You can have letter-size sheets, 10-up business cards, on a flash card for under $5,000 with this machine, or you can do something like this, 24-up, 12 by 18, on a machine that's going to be a 7K solution right here. So that's what's going to be really cool. And rather than you going through all those steps of taking all these individual cuts and doing it, you can just have this slit and cut in both directions and be able to create these uniform cards. So all the same size, completely done, does one sheet at a time, but it may save you a lot of time from having to go on over and take that stack and move it around. So, you know, if you're an end user joining us, great. These weigh up to 350 GSM, so it can accommodate different paper stocks that you're going to be doing. They're very responsibly priced out there, in stock. If you're a dealer, you have access to something that you can easily bulk into a lease for a customer to justify that cost. Again, with something that's under $5,000, they just want the ability to do on-demand business cards. Yep. Improvements that we've done to these machines when we launched it, we made it rugged enough with the cassettes that are built within to be sturdy to handle it. And again, advantages, it's going to be availability, it's going to be capability, and it's going to be cost. So really there's a cutter for any environment that we're going to have out here. And again, you're just looking at some of them. So just to recap, you have sub 5K solution, great for booklets, schools, and churches. You have a sub 10K solution, great for implant shops, great for people who want the ability to be able to trim down 12 by 18, don't have the budget, need to be able to do it. You have a machine that's under a 15K solution right here that's going to be fully automated, no plexiglass cover, productivity advantages, being able to toggle between a lot of applications. And then you have hydraulic machine with a 20.5-inch cutter with our Cut True 29-inch, that's a sub 20K solution. All really well built, ready to go through your dealer network who's out there. We appreciate our dealer network. We want to be easy to work with as possible. Guys, got to be aware of this. These are great machines. I'm super excited to have a wide portfolio to be able to offer you. And I want to thank you very much for your time. Again, middle of the week, middle of the day. We appreciate your time and joining us. Hopefully you got something off of this. We have any questions from the box over there, Trav?
There was just one, and I know you touched on it twice, but just from your perspective and just kind of recap vertical markets and a couple of ideas where people could look.
Yeah, sure. So I'll go around. Again, churches who are creating those booklets that they need to hand out for Sunday Mass, they want to be able to full bleed them. You can do it with that. Big one. Schools, because it's safe and it's automated, it's going to be able to do that. Sports collective people who are in-house cutting down media, cutting down cards. They need something rugged. They need something that's going to be accurate. That's what this can do here. When I think about people either starting up a print shop, not really sure what to do, they need something that can accommodate 12 by 18 type of formats. So implant shops for insurance companies. I think of a lot of different areas where you have people who are creating a lot of their own digital media. A lot of people are selling stuff. Etsy users, whatever. You run into a ton of different stuff with the 27S because it's under $10,000. It can still handle that, and it can fit through most doorways. Here's where we start to get into and evolve into more workhorse of machines. Either one of these can be that, depending on your environment. But people are like in Minuteman press shops are going to be big on this one due to the nature of it being running off a standard power, so it can fit anywhere in their shop. You're going to have a lot of users who do have bigger print shops, and they need to put this just in a corner so other people can use it, but it's going to be completely automated, but it really depends. This is a great starter one, too. For our dealer network, if you're not sure where or what to provide to a customer for a solution and you need somewhere to start with something that's under $15,000, runs off a standard power, fits through most doors, and it's going to be fully automated. And then here's where you start to get into more of your actual print for pay environments with hydraulic machines. Again, we have another one that's bigger than this, with a 28.7-inch cutting width. A lot of these, I could go into verticals for each and every single one of these machines for what we've seen, but it really depends on what they're doing. Is it booklets? Is it 12 by 18? Does it require a lot of steps? Or is it business cards? It really depends on those applications. It depends on your environment. You're looking at a great variety of equipment that's responsibly priced for any environment, and it's based on budget. Sub 20, sub 15, sub 10, sub 5.
Another great question. If you could just go over any options or supplies that are available for the machines.
Yeah, I'd love to. I could talk about these things for an hour straight on each one, so I got to, know where to kind of curb it a little bit. So when you're looking at the 29-inch, again, 20.5-inch hydraulic cutter, fully automated clamp with this, side tables. So you're seeing it without. When you go on to Formax.com, you see the 29H, you click on that, you're going to see it with its side tables. And that's just ease of workflow and productivity. Being able to take your media, kind of put it aside, work from one step to the other with it. So the other thing with this is you're going to want to get a cutting blade and cutting sticks with any of these cutters, for that matter, with the machine.
There you go.
So when you're looking at the 28A, cutting blade, what's underneath here, cutting sticks that are right there. Those are supplies that you're going to want to get with the cutter. So cutting sticks, like always, you can take these, you can rotate them around to get different uses onto it because this cutting blade is literally just hitting that same thing. Blade and sticks are always recommended to get ahead of time. It's high-speed steel as the blade, so it's going to last a very long time. When it does start to wear, it's super easy to replace. I even showed earlier that a step walks you through step-by-step on how to do it. With the 28A, what you see is what you get, which is terrific. Don't have to overcomplicate it. You're looking at an all-inclusive unit to be able to do it. And the same goes for the 27S, and the same goes for the 23S that we have. Those three, what you see is what you get. Don't have to overcomplicate it. Cutting sticks and blade is what I definitely recommend getting with, in addition to the blade and stick that comes with the machine.
Looks like that's it.
Great. Hey. Thank you so much for customers and users who were invited by your dealers. I hope you got a good view of what's going to make the most sense for what you need to spend, for where it's going to be placed, and what you need to accomplish. And for our dealer network, as always, thank you. We appreciate you guys out there. I hope you got a good glimpse at some really, really well-priced, well-constructed options that you're going to have available. For any questions, contact your Formax rep. And if you like what you saw, you want to get along, this is going to be on the YouTube live page as a recording. So thank you very much and have a great rest of your year, everyone.